whatever, and it was just us chickens. And we had to work that into the sermon. I liked the last song a lot. I kept thinking about Mariana, Panama City, Donaldsonville, Bainbridge, Alpha, Mexico Beach. All of them that got hit way worse than here. And I was like, they probably don't feel safe. They probably do not feel okay. They probably do not feel like the whole world's going to be a great place again anytime soon. But if the love of holy could just wrap them, the peace of holy could wrap them, the comfort of holy could wrap them, then they would be able to stand in the midst of ruin and sing, it's beautiful. You're beautiful. It's oh so beautiful. And I just want us to pray today as we go into prayer. Pray for those communities. As you go home and you say your prayers around your own table, before you go to bed, whenever it is that you pray, remember those communities. Remember that they've lost everything. Remember that some of them have lost family members. Remember that some of them don't even know what they've lost because they haven't even been able to get back in yet to see. So while the power comes back on in Tallahassee and we get happy about it and we're like, woo, I got to take a hot shower. There are people that are literally living on granola bars and bottled water. So continue to lift them up. Continue to support them in any way that you can, whether that's donating to the organizations that are going in there, or if it's finding a local group here that we can team up with and go ourselves. Whatever that looks like for you, start doing that. So let's do what we do and let's open with prayer. Holy, we thank you that we're able to be here today. I thank you that the people that have come were able to come. They were able to get out of their homes. They were able to get in vehicles. And they were able to get here. We know that many do not have that luxury today. We ask that you be with those people. No matter what name they call you by, we ask that your peace, your love, your mercy, and your joy surround them, even in the midst of what may appear to be the end of the world as they know it. I ask that you bless them, and I ask that you bless the people that have gathered here today. They come seeking you with all of their hearts. Your word says that if we seek with our whole hearts, we will be rewarded with you. I ask that you be here now. Give us peace. Give us strength. Let every word that comes out of my mouth be a word that is needed to be said, to be heard. And let it speak how it is meant to speak to every heart here. We are your people. You are our holy God. We are here for the sole purpose of being in your presence. So welcome here, Holy Spirit. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So, it's kind of weird putting together a service after a hurricane because you're like, well, who's going to show up? Are we going to have power? Are people going to be able to get there? And if they get there, are they really going to be in a place to be there? Because like our minds are in a million places, right? Some of us are worried about family members. Some of us are worried about, are we ever going to get power? There's all this stuff. So how do you honor your commitment to putting together church and at the same time honor the fact that we're in this place that is not fun, is not a party, it's, yuck. It's hard. So what do I talk about when things get hard? Same thing we always talk about. We talk about loving people and what that looks like and what that means. So I want to start with Song of Solomon. Some versions call it Song of Songs. Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. I'm not going to read the whole thing. One part of it says, love is strong as death. Love is as strong as death. Then it says, many waters cannot quench love, neither can floods drown it. So, Hurricane Michael came. Whoosh. But what did that do to love? Love still stands. Love still is. Holy's love is different than our love and is even stronger. There's another scripture. There's a story about a man named Lazarus. You can find it in John chapter 8. Nope, 11. John chapter 11. Lazarus dies while Jesus is away. Jesus goes back. He tells the disciples, we're gonna go wake Lazarus up. Well, if he's sleeping, that's what he needs to do. Let's just let him sleep. Sleeping's how you get better. That's how you heal the body. Let him sleep. Jesus looks at the disciples. Are you really that dumb? He done died. We're gonna go get him up. And the disciples are like, well, come on, we ain't gonna miss this. And they go. Jesus gets there, and it's a town full of mourning. Like they're all devastated. Lazarus is dead. Mary and Martha, who had sent word because they wanted Jesus to come and they wanted Jesus to stop this thing from happening, right? They didn't want it to happen. So if you'll come, you can keep him from dying. But Jesus didn't. So Mary and Martha are told, Jesus is here. Well, he's a little late. How many of us, as we watched Michael, were like, well, it's a little late now, Jesus. Or in other situations in our life where we've been calling out, Holy, I need you to move, I need you to act, I need something. But then the thing happens anyway. And the first thing that happens is we throw our hands up and we go, well, great, you showed up, you're a little late. I needed you like 10 minutes ago. Where have you been? But Jesus showed up, and even though they were upset and they said things, Jesus reminded them of who he was. And that he walked in a holy love, in a holy light. And Jesus said, take me to the tomb. So they go. The sisters are upset. And then the shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept. The people around said, look how much he loved Lazarus. He's crying. Are tears a measure of love? Like, do you only know how much I love you by the amount of tears that come out of my face? But Jesus wept, and the people around were like, oh, wow, he really loved Lazarus. Then Jesus says, roll away the stone. And everybody's like, whoa, dude. I know you love him and all, but that's fixing to stink. Let's not do it. Jesus has it happen anyway. Inside is Lazarus, wrapped in grave clothes. And Jesus says, Lazarus, come out. Come out. So here comes Lazarus, wrapped and bound. Now, how many of you have seen a movie called The Mummy? So you can kind of come up with an image of what you think it might have looked like, right? So it was probably a lot of this. Trying to get up on out of there. And we laugh about it. But here's the thing. Everybody wants to argue, ain't no way Jesus brought the Lazarus up from the dead. Okay, fine. We ain't got to talk about that part. Let's talk about this part. What was it that called Lazarus from that dark place? What was it that spoke Lazarus' name and Lazarus heard it and got up and said, here I come? It was love. It was love. Love said, Lazarus, I need you to get up and I need you to come back to me. I need you to come from that dark place. I need you to come out of your bondage and come to me. Because when you do that, Lazarus, everybody that's standing around here making jokes and saying it's going to stink and I can't do it is going to see that love prevails. Sometimes we're the instruments of love. But if we're honest, sometimes we're the stuff wrapping people up and binding them. Sometimes we can't get out of our own way. Sometimes we want to say, yeah, Jesus said love everybody and that's what I'm going to do. But then actually doing it is hard. It's hard work. We want to hold on to grudges. We want to stay mad at one another. We don't want to forgive. We don't want to love others as much as we love us. Why? people is hard, and it's the love like Jesus had. When you love someone with that kind of love, that holy love, it doesn't matter what they do to you. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter how they harm you. Your love shows up, and your love says, forget that, drop the chains, come on, we moving on. We don't want to bind one another up. We don't want to be the reason that we hold each other back. We want to be the cheerleaders. We want to be the champions. We want to be the people saying, I love you no matter what. And we will get through this together. I ain't got to like you. I ain't got to like what you just said about me. But I'm going to love you. Because it matters if I love you. It matters if I find a way to work with you. It matters if I forgive you when you hurt me. It matters if I can look you in your face and go, you know what? That was shitty. But now we're going to get up and we're going to move on. Because if we don't look at each other and have these conversations, if we don't let holy love be the thing that pushes us through everything, we're not coming out of those dark places. We're going to stay bound up in our death clothes. We're going to stay in those caves. We're not going to come out. We're going to sit over here by ourselves and go, well, nobody loves me. Nobody cares. It's just me by myself over here. Don't nobody care about me. Okay, well, have you cared? Have you made an effort to really love people? Have you attempted to go where they are dying? I don't mean literally. I mean emotionally. I mean spiritually. Have you stepped to where they are? Marcy's water bottle is wrecking me today. I love you, Marcy. Have you stepped to those dark places? And have you held on to your friend? And have you said, I love you, no matter what? I don't know how we fix it. I don't know what we do. But we're going to get through it. Have you done that? And if you can't say yes, then you got to go back. And you got to pick it up. And you got to look at it. And you got to look at what it says. It says, love everybody. It doesn't say when they're good. It says love them all the time. It doesn't say when you want to. It doesn't say when it's convenient. It says love one another. MCC, last week we talked about how MCC's one of the founding principles was the open table. Love is also something that you see throughout MCC's history. Love compelled them. Love pushed them. And in the late 70s through the 80s, there was this epidemic that hit. HIV/AIDS was wiping people out. And in the early phases of the early stages of it, MCC had a lot of stuff going on. Could women be ordained? Inclusive language, doesn't matter. They were having these conversations. And while they were having these conversations, this thing started coming and started taking their people. The men were dropping like flies. Bad. Yeah, I probably should have used that. Anyway, the men were dying. Record number. And the women, it was the women of MCC who stepped up. It was the women who said, you know what? We are called to work and walk in love. We're going to love you through this. It might not be pretty, because it wasn't. It might be the worst thing we've ever faced. And it was. And they still went into the darkest places where their male counterparts were. And they loved them through it. They loved them to the other side. They cared for them. They dried their tears. They bandaged them. They did whatever was required. Why? Because love compelled them. See, you don't get to just come in here and say, yeah, I follow Jesus, if you're not really letting love compel you.
Amen.
You can't just sit here and talk about it. We can't just sit here and say, yeah, we love everybody. But then the first time Sherry makes me mad, I'm like, there's the exit door and I'm going this way. That's not what love calls us to do. You don't abandon one another. You hold on to one another. You don't say, well, you're on your own. You've got this. You go and you say, I'm going to do it with you. Come on. We're going to go do this thing. It's going to be okay. And we hold on to one another. Christy, why are you talking about this after the hurricane of all things? Because love matters in every situation. It's love that all of those people need. Yes, they need water. Yes, they need clothing. Yes, they need food. But they also need people just to hug them. Just to hold them. Just to say, it's okay. We, the human race, have you. We will hold on to you. We will step to that dark place and we will call you out. We will say, this is love calling your name, Joni. Come to me. This is love calling to you. Come from your dead spot. Come to me. Where there is life. Where there's joy. Where there's peace. Where there's goodness. You can stay in your dark place if you want to. You can be the reason other people have dark places if you want to. But if that's the choice you make, I need you to do one favor for me. Stop telling people you follow my Jesus.
Amen.
Yes. Because my Jesus says you got to love people no matter what. You have to find a way to care enough that you don't leave one another behind. You have to find a way to care enough to look over the hurts, to look over the harms and mend the bridges. You have to find a way to build up, not tear down. You have to find a way to hold on to one another. I don't know how. I don't have all the answers. But I know that when Holy calls us and calls us into holy love, there's nothing we cannot do. Nothing. With humans it may be impossible, but with God all things are possible. Yes. That's what it says. And if you believe it, then you have to start trying. And I don't want to hear the thing about, well, I don't want to be the first one. Somebody has to. Somebody fired the first shot to start the fight. So somebody has to take the first step to make it right. Somebody did the first thing that caused the harm. So somebody has to do the first thing to start mending it. Y'all, you don't grow as a person if you stay in the dark places refusing to love one another. You don't grow as a person. We don't grow as a community if we let each other do that. If we let each other say, no, that Terry, she is a piece and I am done. Don't want nothing to do with her. Y'all, if y'all gonna take her, I ain't going. That's not love. That's self. That's selfishness. That's ego. That's brokenness. That's your brokenness keeping you bound to the dark places. When Jesus is standing there saying, come out. Come out, Marcy. Come out, Lavette. You come out. You come into holy light. You let me unwrap all those things that have you bound. Because if you don't, what happens? Hurricanes are devastating things. Those areas will never look the same. Your hearts will never look the same if you keep holding on to all of the hurts you're holding on to. Some of you are holding on to things that are so long in the making, I don't even know where we begin. But we have to start somewhere. Some of you, the hurt you're holding on to is of a political nature. And I don't know. I don't know how you reconcile that. All I know is that Jesus said, if you follow me, you have to love one another. And Jesus stepped to my dark place and said, Christy, come out. Don't stay in there. That's death. Come to me. I'm life. I'm light. I'm love. Come to me. Let me take away the things that are binding you. Let me free you. So, if I believe that, and I step into the light, and love compels me, I have no right to say, Lovette, stay in the darkness. I have no right to allow any of you to stay in dark places. Well, Christy, it's none of your business what I do. You're right, to a point. But here's where you're wrong. You told me you wanted me to stand up here. You told me you wanted me to lead. You told me, Christy, you're my friend and I love you. And I looked at you and said, I love you too, but you know what I mean? Sometimes we got to have some hard conversations. And y'all said, yep. So you're right up to a point. That's none of my business. But then because of who we are to each other and because of how we're trying to build this thing and do this thing, it is my business. Because if you're harming yourself and if you're harming other people, then you're harming us as a community. And I can't have that. Love has to be the cry of our hearts. And we have to mean it. And it has to matter. And it can't be just words. It has to be actions. Well, what does that look like? That looks like that Sherry did me wrong. And I go up to her after church and I go, I love you. And we're going to be okay. It means you make me mad. And I want to wring your neck. And instead, I hug your neck. And say, Lovette, we got to talk about some things. Because I need you to understand why you frustrated me. And I need to know what we can do to fix it. It means I show up for you. It means when you call, I come running. It means when you say, hey, I need you. I go, okay, but can it wait because I've been cleaning yards for 5 days and I really need a nap? No. It means I say, I'll be right there. It means when I have power and you don't, I post on Facebook, I send a text, I do whatever I have to say, hey, I have power, I have running order, you can come to me. For the 3 people that did that this week, love y'all. Y'all don't even have to listen today. Y'all know what this is about. We have to care enough to put ourselves in what a lot of people view as vulnerable positions. And people don't like being vulnerable. I hate it. But to be free, we have to find a way to step into situations that we don't want to be in. Because you don't want to look at your friend and go, you know you did me dirty. Right, Joni? You know it. And you know that that was totally not cool. And we have to fix it. But if we really love each other the way we say we do, isn't it worth us having that conversation? And if we're really going to change our community, if we're really going to change Tallahassee like we've been talking about for, I feel like, forever, doesn't it matter if we're really doing this love thing? So you have 2 choices. You can be the person that steps to the dark place and says, I'm a representative of holy love and I'm calling you out. Come to me. Come to me. Don't stay in the darkness. Or you can be a contributing factor to why someone stays bound and in the places that they are in. These are the choices that we make. And holy calls us to make the right choices. To love. And to love with all that we are. What did it say? Love is as strong as death. Many waters cannot quench love. Neither can floods drown it. No matter what happens, it can't erase it. Love stays if we allow it to. MCC, the denomination, they've been through a lot in their 50 years. A lot. And sometimes There have been tough conversations that have needed to happen. If the people having those conversations choose love every time, choose to say, "Holy, let your love be the guiding principle right now," it's all going to be okay. But we have to make that choice. Choose love. No matter what. No matter how hard. No matter how crazy it makes you feel. Choose love. Put your pride in the back seat. Put your ego in the back seat. Put love first. Because when you're putting love first, it's not just love the emotion, the gooey, ooey, fuzzy, funny stuff. That's holy. Holy. We like to disconnect it. Oh, I love Mary Beth. I love her hat. I love her shoes. That's all well and good. You've just taken love and you've turned it into, about specific physical things. But love is bigger. Love is holy. Which means when you're walking in love, you're walking in holy. You're representing holy. It means when you turn your back on me, you've turned your back on holy love. It means when you choose to go into the dark place, you've chosen to say, "Holy, wait right there a minute." Are you following me? And the longer you stay in the dark place, the longer you stay bound up, the harder it is for you to hear everyone else saying, "We love you, come out of the darkness. We love you, come back to the light. Be a part of this. Be a part of holy. Be a part of community. Be a part of people who really want to see great things happen." And the only way we can do anything is by loving one another. And yeah, I'm tired of talking about it too. But we don't seem to get it. We say we do, but then what? Holy stands in your darkest place and yells, "Lavette, come. Marcy, come. Sherry, come. Joni, come. Kadell, come. Tom, come. Ash, come. Harper, come. Come." And when you come into the holy light, where love really does rule, you got to leave the rest of it behind. Take off the deathbed clothes and leave them and become the new person, the new creation that you're meant to be. Walking in love, walking in light, walking in peace, helping everybody that you can, and doing the part we hate. Admitting when we mess up so that we can hold on to one another and keep growing and keep building and keep adding to the number of people who are in the light, who stand in love. Because the more that stand in love and in light, the better your chances are for everything else. Always choose the side of love. Always choose holy. And all the people said, Amen.